Well, hi everyone, and welcome back to the Ascension Playground. This is your friend Ursie. And yes, I pulled out another one of my large paintings and I'm using it now as a new backdrop. I just was inspired to think about the massive amounts of very large scale paintings I've done, and I've been storing them here in my home. So I'm going to start pulling them out so that I can remember where I've been. In the spirit of this, we're closing up the year 2022, and I've been getting many people coming forward asking for readings that include the 4 royal stars. And so, because I took a star school with Bernadette Brady recently, it was just so much fun to see another person who's been tracking and writing books and studying the stars for so much of her life. So Bernadette Brady, make sure to put her name on your list if you're interested in learning more about the stars of heaven. So today I'd like to begin the first of 4 little mini episodes on going back to those 4 royal Persian stars. We talked a lot about the stars themselves, their location, but I want to also bring up now the other side of the star, the shadow side, the side we often call or is known as the Nemesis. Do. And the reason I'm bringing this forward on the playground is to share just the wonder of it all. You start learning star stories and galactic heritage, and suddenly we're finding that even though these star systems are many light years away from us or much older than us on the timeline, that there are the same type of issues, perhaps, that have gone from one system to the next. By that, I mean, when we decide to come into the 3rd dimension, things are polarized. So the brightest light will cast the darkest shadow. If it's a tiny little light, it's going to cast a tiny little shadow. So the more magnificent and glowing, perhaps, let's just say a star is, it too will carry the equal and opposite energy of a shadow. So we're going to hold energy very much like positive, negative, without trying to get too stuck on, oh, avoid the dark, only look at the light, or I'm stuck in the dark, where's the light? We're just looking at this idea of equal and opposite. And here we go. Let's see, I'm going to pull up a little screen. First star I'd like to talk to you about and share on the playground is going back to Regulus. Regulus, doesn't that just sound authoritative? It's the star of the king star. And for at least 2,000 years, it's been the one that you hope to be born under or with. You know, people are trying to understand, okay, where's Regulus in my chart to see if I have that leadership capability. But I'm going to go and pause for a moment. I'm sharing this slide in case this is your first time jumping in on this particular topic on the playground, to show you all 4 royal stars of heaven. We've got Regulus, Fomalhaut, Antares, and Aldebaran. Here we go. And I put little pictures underneath of each of the stars in the heavens. Why are these so important? Well, when we start looking at how do we map time, how do we map with location navigationally on the earth, these are the 4 stars that were basically the PowerPoints that the ancients would look up and go, okay, if there's Regulus, then that means I'm over here. And so I can navigate by knowing where that star and another star might be. So Regulus carries the summer solstice. And if you look at this wonderful chart, this beautiful little drawing of a compass, this comes from Julia Balaz's Star Seeds Teachable course. I just love it because it's an easy reference. So at the very top of the chart, Regulus, it is a star in the heavens in the Leo constellation. Metaphorically, it carries the beautiful healing energy of Archangel Raphael. It's the watcher of the north. So the northern point is being held by Regulus. And as far as element, it is air with the green ray energy, Regulus. I'll eventually come back to the playground and talk to you about the other 3 stars and their shadows as well. But here's just a reminder of once upon a time, a long time ago, the god had a name, Ahura Mazda. Okay, so here was a story that the ancient Persians would talk about and share. God created 2 children. One was good, positive, the other was not good, negative. Okay, so but here we go. The father of creation birthing 2 children, positive and negative. Right away, you can't help but think of the yin yang symbol of Asia, where the whole idea is to try and see how the blending of light and dark finds its equal and opposite balance. Now, Ahura Mazda said each of the 4 stars of Persia, it promised glory and success, but there was that shadow side. So as some of us might want to race after we watch The Crown, or we look at, heaven forbid, Harry and Meghan, what is it to be royal? I mean, you're set apart, you are held above, you have the royal finery, you have the glitz, you have want for nothing. However, there's a price. And so if you've been watching Harry and Meghan, you see that the price tag on that was their anonymity was gone. Suddenly, if you become part of the royal family, your ability to be just a normal person going to the store, you lose that. So you see, I'm sharing that story as another real-time example of, yes, royalty, and there's a price. Okay, so how do you hold that energy? So in this case, every single royal star, if you see that you have a soul connection using the galacticastrochart.com program, if you have a soul connection to one of these 4 royal stars, pay attention, because it means, yes, there's potential for glory and leadership, etc., but it also means that the life journey, your soul agreed before coming in to really have the challenges of the duality. So when it's time to go to battle, who do you call? You call in the king. What's the king's command or the queen's command? How do we govern? So it's sitting in a throne or a placement of decision making. So the ancient belief at the bottom of the screen says, great glory is promised if you can overcome the Nemesis, which can destroy. So see, there's always that little worm in the apple. It's like, here you can taste of the wonderful fruit. But guess what? If you swallow the worm in the apple, destruction. So that's how we play the game in duality, right? So let's see. I went ahead and I found one of these old star constellation charts, and I wanted to show you where Leo constellation was. So here we see in the red circle, over this way, the Leo constellation, and in gold, I put a little circle around where's Regulus. Oh, it's that time of day where the light is really streaming in. Here we go. Okay, and then I'm just pulled this slide back to say, here's what the Leo constellation looks like. It looks like a lion, doesn't it? Now, when you go 2,000 years ago, I was thinking, my God, it reminds me of the Sphinx. And yes, there was this thought, and I haven't finished the book yet, that the actual body of the Sphinx did have this correlationship to leadership, but it had a human face. I believe it was female, the body of a lion. And so when I see this, I think right away it's related to ancient Egypt, it's related to the pharaohs and leadership. And here's Regulus sitting there as the marking for the star of the king. Where is it today in 2022? If you enjoy astrology or checking out the stars, currently Regulus is sitting at 0 degrees of Virgo, 8 minutes. It's just left, the Leo sign, and it's sitting now again at 0 degrees Virgo, 8 minutes in 2022. If you want to check your soul connections, it's a 2-degree, 30-minute orb. So it can go either way for that orb within your natal chart to see, do I have Regulus in my chart? Just go look at where Regulus was when you were born. And of course, the best time to meditate when the sun conjoins with this beautiful Persian star of the heavens. In the northern hemisphere on August 22nd is when the sun conjoins Regulus, and it moves into an oppositional position on February 18th. Both times are great to attune to your Regulus star family. And if you don't have Regulus in your chart, but you want to get the chutzpah to step into a greater point of leadership, always a good time to meditate more strongly on that time. So here we go, 0 degrees of Virgo, heart of the lion. It's also known as the king star or the little prince. And I didn't know this, but there's Leo constellation, and then there's a little lion above, but we're focused on where the location of Regulus is. This Archangel Raphael carries this energy. It's the angel of healing, that green ray of light. It's full of compassion. So Archangel Raphael is here to help with working with Regulus, people who are struggling with physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual needs. But here's where I want to share with you what's the Nemesis, the shadow side. If you have this in your chart, especially, is the word revenge. Revenge is the Nemesis. Now, I want you to hold this word a little lightly. Revenge isn't always what we think. It's not always very direct. Like, hey, you hurt me, I'm going to go hurt you. An eye for an eye. That's where that comes from. So when you work with these divine star beings, and I'm calling out Regulus, this beautiful star of heaven, we're talking about a being of light, an entity of light, and its magnification is all about, beaming this energy out. Here in 3D, we're given a gift, but we're challenged by how to hold leadership, right? So we want to go fight the good fight. But hey, when I called for battle and so didn't come, they said they were going to come, but they didn't. Well, I go to battle, but I'm going to go pay revenge back to those people who didn't show up. That's a little more direct, but a more subtle form of revenge perhaps could be, okay, you hurt my feelings. I've got this royal star within my soul connection. I'm taking a leadership view of the world, and you hurt my feelings. My revenge will be more subtle. I will just stop talking to you. It's like, huh? So revenge does not have to be physical battle. It doesn't have to be sword to sword. It doesn't even have to be poison. It could be something more subtle, like stop talking, or just cutting people out without a conversation, without telling them why. So we have to look at the word revenge in 2022. How do you work with revenge? So it's important to look at the Nemesis so that we can clear that energy and be aware of the shadow. And, the whole focus here is to try and stay lighter. And so I went, and thank you, Vashta.com. This is a fabulous website that has some channeled paintings. So I borrowed her little angel image here. And so I just thought that this image carried the beautiful light of all the archangels. So beware revenge, because here's the other bright side of Regulus. According to Julia Balaz with Galactic Astrology 101, for her, many of her clients that had Regulus that were conjunct their natal planets, especially to Pluto, Neptune, Uranus, the sun, moon, ascendant, and the nodes, These clients for Julia seemed to understand that they had amazing healing abilities, and could heal through their heart chakra. Okay, so this powerful portal of love energy, healing, sending light, love, innate, powerful healing abilities, bringing love into places of darkness to restore balance. She also noted that some of the people who've had Regulus soul connections in the natal chart had past lives as healers, elders, or caregivers. Gotta just say, so this is the highest level in potential, right? Oh, and this beautiful image of Archangel Raphael is from Diana Cooper's beautiful Oracle card deck on the Archangels. Just love it. This angel image is carrying that green light of love. So I'm going to stop sharing for just a moment. Because when you speak about the stories of the angels themselves, right? The ones that were around this throne, working with source, God energy. And so, even with the angels, we have eventually the fallen angels, the ones that moved away. So, creating this duality, this split between the positive and the negative. So, working again with duality. I think it's just part of the game we're playing here in 3D. So we want to hold it lightly. If you do have a connection to Regulus, let's just hold this idea of look for the sign it's in, one of the 12 zodiacal signs, which sign is carrying that king star with it. And then look for the house it's sitting in. That will tell you how that leadership ability will play out potentially in your life. So the house 1 through 12. If you're interested in having me do a few little beginning tutorials on the houses and the signs, I'm happy to do that. You just take this and you lay the galactic information on top, and then it just helps us weave these bigger, broader stories. And I have to say, in 2022, just learning about the Persian stars, we're looking at Persia today, Iran, Iraq, and we just look at it differently than we would, let's say, 2,000 years ago. So the stories of our land, of our people, it's a human story. And the stars have been there shining their light upon us. So do you see how this evolution, this galactic and human evolution in 2023, this year we're going to be moving into, it's all up for us. I sense this great merger, this merger of remembering where we've come from, who we are today, and potentially where we're going. Wouldn't that be nice to be a little clearer? I think it's possible for 2023. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate you joining me on the playground, and I'll be back soon to talk a little bit more about those 3 other royal stars of heaven and their nemesis. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye for now.